I'm Jeanette Keynes from Jewelry Arts Inc. In this video, I'm going to show you how to solder together some 22 rose alloy, which the color is so beautiful. I've been so excited. I hope all of you have heard about it, and if you haven't, well, I'm telling you now. These beautiful fusible alloys with these colors, apricot, rose, green, it's amazing. But in this video, I'm going to show you how to solder them together and how it's really very simple and uses pretty much the same techniques you would have been using for other types of gold or silver. So let me show you how. Up here, and if you don't mind, let's go ahead and I'll demonstrate the
sure.
whole thing here.
Yep. Yeah. Go for it.
Let's do it.
Oh, that's the rose.
So this is the 22 karat rose.
Okay.
Look at that gorgeous color. It's so pretty. So yesterday what we did is we fused the bezel shut. We're doing this sexy spinel right here. Maybe you can see that juicy goodness there. And we were talking about how only the insiders know about spinels and how cool they are and how beautiful that, the rest of the world doesn't understand. But, so yes, 22 rows. And the thing about using these colored alloys is that generally if you're going to anneal or solder or whatever, you want to do kind of a fire coat. Because the whole point of them is they have that specific color, right? So if you heat them up without any coating and pickle them, they'll get more and more yellow as more and more of the pure gold is at the surface. Now, is that the end of the world? No, but you want to sand that off to get the original color back. So usually what I do to prevent having to do lots of sanding is I just do the fire coat. This is our alcohol and boric acid, which is really cheap and goes a long way. So with this, I'm literally just gonna dip it in there and then we'll light it on fire, which is fun. You can also just let the alcohol evaporate. Need those glasses. And this is the same thing for people who work in 14 karat or white gold or whatever. They're doing the same thing because any kind of colored alloy, when you get that further enrichment at the surface, it makes the color not what you want it to be. So this is just sort of a normal procedure for any kind of colored alloy. And 14 isn't a colored alloy, but it's got so much gook in it. Sorry, 14. That if you just work with it bare, you know what I mean, and then pickle it, the color is it's not good, and you have to sand off the surface. Okay. So at any rate. And there's different stuff you can use for this, but this is cheap and plentiful. You see how you get that fun little green flame, which, is fun.
It's fun.
Oh my. See? And remember that this is we call this a fire coat. And although this is boric acid, it doesn't take the place of your flux. So even though you do this, we're still gonna dip our solder in a little bit of flux. Okay?
Yeah, I can cut the solder.
Okay, beautiful. And then you got the nice 22 rose, or 20 karat rose, excuse me, solder, which is a beautiful color match and will flow lovely. So, but this is, again, it's really just like normal. We're gonna cut a couple pieces, we're gonna boil them up, we're gonna dip them in a little paste mix, we're gonna stick them in there, we're gonna kablamo, and that's gonna be that. Okay. Okay, and when you're boiling up solder, hot and fast is always the key. Pretty much everything except for annealing with the torch is all about hot and fast.
Yep. That needs to be the same.
Well, yes, it does. I'm going to do this low-tech but effective method, which is called too lazy to walk to the bathroom. Tell no one. Stir it up a little bit. And remember, the paste flux works fine when it's really thick and dry like that. You just can't get the solder off the tweezers.
Right.
So. Okay. And I'm very proud of this solder. I tested all of this, and this blend is ridiculous. We made so many different recipes. So I'm just gonna kind of sit that there. I'm gonna put this on here. And I'm just like normal, up against the edge of the bezel. I think I'm gonna add maybe one more piece. Alana, you can maybe get a little shot from the top of there. You're using these colored alloys, 98% of it is exactly like you normally would do things, just like with silver, just like with 22 yellow, but little differences.
And you'll see the flow the same, like you hit it just
Exactly.
directly under.
Yep. I'm gonna like kablamo
You'll
from
see the-
underneath,
yeah.
and you'll see that solder just run right around.
Okay.
Okay. And as always, I don't use an enormous amount of solder because
That's why.
the trucker believes with me. It's like my own bleep. You know what I mean? Where was he when I was swearing earlier? You know? Because using a lot of solder, you know what I mean? It just costs you more money and more cleanup. So you're always looking for like just enough to overfill it by a hair. You know what I mean? So that you can clean it up nicely.
Yep.
Getting the gook off my hands. Okay, so I'm gonna dry this, and the only thing I'm concerned about is making sure the little granules of solder stay up against the bezel.
How many pieces of solder did
I put in 2 for that, and with the size of the balls that I made, that looks like enough to me. If I am incorrect, I will add more. Because remember, it doesn't matter where the balls of solder end up as long as they're up against the bezel. Do you know what I mean? Like where they are in there doesn't really matter. So I'm going to dry it up gently, make sure it's in position, and then go in for the kill. Okay. I'm going to dry it a little bit. Stick my nose in there. Take just a quick look so you can see what I mean, so that you know it's right up against the edge. And then go in for the kill. Hot and fast. See? It's beautiful. And there you go. You see it melt. And that's
That
it.
might be my favorite thing to see.
When the solder melts,
Yes.
it's
nice.
so
Yeah.
satisfying.
It's like the perfect way to view it because you like see it.
You just see it travel.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
honestly, a lot of times also, if you notice, I'm not really looking inside. I'm just watching that outside edge. When I
Yes.
see it spin around there and fill,
Right.
I get out.
Cool.
So you'll let it cool, you'll pickle it, and we'll trim off the excess and whatever. But so working in 22 rows is really almost just the same as working in anything else. Okay.
Awesome. Thank
All right,
you.
we'll check back in after it's pickled so we can see it all clean and pretty. Okay, so here is the beautiful bezel, all gorgeous and soldered and pickled. You see that, how it's all nice and filled in. So basically your next step is take your joist chins, trim away the excess, file, sand, you know, the usual shenanigans. And then we'll start thinking about your ring shank.
Yep.
Nice job.